Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Ferris Makes Emulators. It has been a long time since I did one of these. I think the last one was in June. So first of all, I apologize for the absence. If you guys didn't catch the last demo scene stream that I did last Thursday, I talked about the fact that I'm back now. I'm going to be doing this every week, at least the Thursday streams. So that'll be emulator focused normally. And we'll probably do some intermittent demo scene streams in there as well. But mostly focused on the emulator stuff and every Thursday. So really happy to see everyone here, by the way. This is awesome. Garrett Kelly says it's not on YouTube yet. No, it's totally not. Yeah, I have uploaded it, but I haven't made it public, so I need to do that this weekend. By the way, hi to guys in the chat. G Superland, Mad Moose, Desi Hughes, Daru2, Garrett Kelly, Dark Second, Bomba, Luna Sorcery. Good to see you guys again. Seeing as it's been so long since I've played with this stuff, I have to remember how to like get back into this project. And so I suspect a lot of this stream is going to be that. I also don't think today's stream is going to be particularly long, just because there's some other stuff I want to work on today. And I just kind of want to get back into this sort of the swing of things. So let's just start by trying to get the emulator to build again. I've upgraded Rust several times in the last months, which actually made our last 64K smaller, so that was kind of nice. What am I on now? Okay, I'm on some nightly i686 stuff. Let's change that. So what I want to work on today in particular is we're still working on Libretro stuff, and I believe where we left off was we started being able to restore save states. We've got it to save and serialize all those, and then right at the very end, I think I just restored the RAM contents and then just let it go, and it actually worked, which is ridiculous, but cool. Drew says, I say we do a Ferris, watched Ferris Makes Emulators, and we watch your first emulator stream together. Oh, God, I'd rather not. Oh, did I just change this to nightly again? Cool. No, we'll do this. Okay, and then, yeah, dev projects. I think this is still VBRS. This is the one I'm working in here. And let's do Rustio Boy, Libretro. I have no idea if this still builds or not, so this will be fun. Stable is for horses. What? ESP32? What's that? Oh, by the way, I'd like to add, I finally did some SIMD stuff in Rust, like with the standard library SIMD stuff. So essentially the Intel intrinsics just in Rust. And I'm absolutely thrilled with that. Just throwing that out there. Oh, that sounds cool. I've never heard of any of those. What's BLE? Hey, Made Art. That's not the demo scene made, is it? Because if so, I might have to fanboy a bit. Bluetooth Low Energy, that's cool. Okay, so this built. We get a bunch of warnings. I'm going to look through these. Like I normally ignore these, but I want to actually look through these this one time now that we're getting back into stuff, just to make sure that there's nothing new. Because sometimes the compiler changes. Extensa instruction set? Never heard of that. Hey, Daniel Colin. I just wanted to look at this here. I just searched extensa. Customizable microprocessor core, the extensa. Huh. Yeah, I've never heard of this. That's neat. It sounds like a pill. A dirty pill. I gotta find my controller so I can run Libretro. So I'm gonna be right back. And I'm back. Got my controller. Two. Let's see if I remember how to run Libretro. Or RetroArch in particular. If I recall correctly, it's RetroArch, then -L. And we'll do dev projects VBRS. Rustro Boy Libretro. Target release Rustro Boy Libretro.dll. Failed to load content because you need that too. Got the save file in the save state. That looks good. Do I just add that here? I don't remember that either. That bound high. That'll be good. Nice. Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, this is awesome. I haven't even ran this since like June. So start button work. Start button. Nope. I have no idea how to configure this. Okay, escape quits. I just need some time to re-familiarize myself with this, I think. Oh yeah, still having weird, like, glitchy bugs like this. No idea why. No, okay. Escape still quits. Isn't it F1? Yeah, that's what it was. F1's a quick menu. F2 is save state. Load states. Controls. This one. The backspace. Yeah, backspace is that. Okay. Here we go. To input in here. Or maybe it's probably configuration. No. Whew. This one maybe, retropad. This one. Oh man. Did any of this say start? It's a start. Start. Okay, now it's 6. F1. Nice. Start. Nice. Hey, it's Cryon. We're just getting back into things here. And then we're going to work more on save states. Particularly restoring from save states. If I recall correctly, I was fairly pleased with the scheme I came up with for doing the save states and having them be compressed and versioned. Also in the here, it should tell me where that save state went. Yeah, and there's still, so this is one of the things that's super annoying with RetroArch. It gives me a particular buffer format, and then I give it the buffer in that format, and then when it goes to pause, it reinterprets it as a different format. But that was, as far as I know, there's nothing that I'm doing wrong in terms of implementing the driver for that, so we're going to ignore that. But I want to see, yeah, here's some of my debug output, if I recall correctly. Okay, so it actually just goes to the RetroArch folder here, states and saves. Yeah, this is the save state thing. I like this. I'm just getting sucked into the game here. Let's see. F2 is that? And then F3 probably saves to a different state? Or how do I restore? Oh, F4 is restore. That's awesome. I think it only restores, was it the CPU state or what? So now it's just zombie states. But reset should work. Yeah, we're golden. I'll save that state, and then I can restore that. Yeah, it's like here. It's so funny. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so everything works, it seems. We had some debug output. Actually, let me see if I have something that's not committed. I do. Okay, yeah, so this was the saving stuff out, and I never committed this. Glad I did this then. Okay, yeah, and then here's it printing out the quirks flag. Oh, yeah, because this was doing variable size. Oh, now I remember this. This was annoying. Yeah, you're exactly right, Dark Second. It's totally just restoring the work RAM only. Just to do full state thing here. Okay, but now I recall what the big annoying thing with this was, and that is the fact that if I remember this API correctly, it asks you for the size of the serialized data, and then it asks you to serialize into that or deserialize that. And if you return, or I think because it would do the size whenever, like before it would ask you to serialize. But then if you ever return a different size from this, then like the size you return in the first call, that's not okay. And that's what this was, is that I wanted to check these quirks thing because I think the quirk can tell you yeah, I think we're trying to tell it the core might have variable size. And then I ask for this one. And then that's what this quirks thing is. And that should overwrite this value. It should replace it with the ones that it supports. And that's why we had this output here. And so I believe actually this debug output here that we had here with C. Let me pull this up. I still have these tabs open, which is good. Remember how to spell quirk. Yeah, it was this like variable size one here. 1 shift left 2 is 4, so C should actually contain that. But we wanted because this says serialization may change, size may change within a session, which is what we want to say. And then there was the fact that the front end could do this too. I think that was the other half of this. Is that not in here? Oh no, it's here. The front variable size set by the front end to acknowledge that it supports variable size states. So yeah, so that's exactly what this was. So I think we need to set both these flags. We need to set this one because we're going to query that in the same API call. That's what the API call does. It sets the things you specify and it queries the bits you specify. So we want to specify this and we want to check this. And if it doesn't support this, I actually want to either disable serialization or go into like an uncompressed serialization mode. Either way would be okay. It's just the uncompressed one takes a long time and the save states are bigger. But maybe for some front ends, that's the only way to do it. Might just be simpler to just not support it. But that's what that to do meant, I think. You guys can yell at me if that seems ridiculous. Or if that seems wrong, rather. I think it seems ridiculous, but it seems wrong. And that's what I'm actually concerned about. But I think that's what it was, if I remember this. Hey, Silence. But anyway, I think that's okay. And then what was this doing? This is doing the actual serialization. Yeah, because we get the state and then we serialize that. And then we just make sure to copy the bytes. Otherwise, we catch this error. I'm still not entirely sure how we want to do error reporting in the core. But but we'll get to that eventually, I suppose. And then, yeah, and this was to get the size. We just serialized it again and then return the size. I think that's okay. We could also do some caching, but I don't think it really matters. I think this is fine for this implementation. These are the correct bits, though, in terms of the data we get back here, so that's good. And yeah, I think the next thing we do is I actually want to leave these to-dos in here for now, and we'll get to those because I'm still not sure how I want to handle this. In the meantime, I think we'll just focus on getting the states applied because I believe we have the full state already being serialized. It's just a matter of applying everything, not just the workaround. And I think I only did this at the end of the last stream just to see what would happen and was pleasantly surprised that it kind of works. Hey, Alkama. You didn't miss much, just getting stuff to work again. Okay, so I think I'll spend the rest of the stream just working on this, on filling in parts of this and whatever we need to do in the emulator core to do that, and then we'll actually get this committed. And into GitHub, I'll probably stream for another half hour, maybe a little longer. But I think that's a good way to move forward with this and get back into things. Feels good to work on this again. It's been a long time. But you guys are well aware of that. By the way, I'd like to say, no worries to people who like got rid of their subscriptions and stuff. Like, just first of all, I totally get it, and would never guilt you guys into that or whatever. Like, that whole thing is just kind of a bonus for me anyway, and I really appreciate that. So thank you for the times that you did have those subscriptions. I really appreciate that. And no hard feelings about not having that, because obviously I wasn't holding up my end of the deal, so no worries about that. But extra thanks to the people who did stick it out. I really do appreciate that, and also to the people who resubbed after I started streaming again. This will be a weekly thing, so yeah, looking forward to doing this more regularly. But yeah, anyway, thanks to people on both accounts. Just wanted to say I appreciated that. So I think, actually, where was that code here? This was get envelope state in Resto Boy serialization. Yeah, right, because the Libretro core just calls out to this. So in here, is it down here? Yeah, it's this function here. So the annoying thing about this is we have to it's all this state, and there's a lot of it. But the nice thing about it is that we already have all of it here when pulling it out of the emulator, like to actually get the state. And I still agree with this design where we pull out all the state that actually we would want to preserve, because that way we skip like internal state. We don't just do that data structure, and we pull it into specifically a version state structure, and their version between these different modules. And that way, whenever we read it back, we can deserialize it into one of these version states. And then I want to have little upgrade paths from one state to the following state, because then every time we make a change that affects this state, we only have to update the latest state that it's going to be, or make a new one, which is basically forking the most recent one. And then we only have to do the transform that describes the exact change we did. And I think that's really reasonable, because it should just be a reflection of the actual changes made to the internal state of the emulator. So I'm fairly happy with this. The only downside is it's pretty verbose, but I think that's okay, because there is just a lot of state here. I think that's just reasonable. Anyway, we do now want to apply this. So I'm going to do, where's the file, new view into file thing? So I have this down here, and we're just going to get started, I guess. So yeah, we'll go ahead and load the ROM first, I guess. Or because we don't just want to replace like the interconnect. I'm actually not entirely sure how I want to structure this right now, but I'll just have to read through stuff. We could build a new interconnect structure, but we need to do WRAM and stuff. I think we won't do that, actually. I think we'll just expose all the stuff we need to and just overwrite stuff. I think that'll be okay. Because there shouldn't be any references to stuff between here, as far as I know. Dark Second, does it still serialize to 20 plus megs of JSON? No, I believe I switched to, first of all, encoding it as BSON instead of JSON, which saved a lot, especially with like the binary parts, like the memory. And then I threw that through a LZ4 codec, and that ended up getting it to like 6K or something, if I recall correctly. Let me look, actually, because it's in RetroArch. The reason I chose LZ4 is because it's a relatively fast modern codec. It's not the best in terms of ratio, but it's very good in terms of ratio and speed trade-off. And speed is a really important factor for this particular use case. And the other reason I chose it is because it's off the shelf, so it was very easy to integrate. Whoops. So I think it's states. Yes, this is like 500K. So not like 6K, like I said, but more than reasonable, I think, for saving out the entire state of the system. Quite pleased. That's a lot of Fs. In fact, that seems concerning that that's the output of a compressor. Wonder what's going on there. In fact, this looks very structured. But if I recall correctly, I think LZ4 normally looks a bit structured like this. But this seems too much. The beginning of this looks more reasonable in that sense. No, there's still a lot of stuff here. It seems a bit silly. I don't know. Yeah, I also don't think this looks compressed. Where did it actually do the serialization? I'm going to look at that. Oh, it's here. So lib. Serialize. Bin code and then LZ4 compress. So it should be compressed. And then it does decompress through that pipeline at least. But that really did not look compressed, did it? I mean, I know it's a lot smaller than the equivalent uncompressed state would have been. Let's do this. I think if we just do that, it might just work. It won't deserialize properly. It should break, but it shouldn't crash. We should just get a error in the terminal. What a fast build. That's actually concerning. No, okay, we're good. And save that state. Yeah, that was bigger. There was our 18 megs. And I'm guessing this will look uncompressed in comparison. Still very structured. I wonder actually though if maybe for a lot of this stuff it just copped out with LZ4. Maybe there's some configuration stuff, because a lot of this definitely wasn't there. Some of it was. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's some balanced, like leave the entire block uncompressed rather than try to encode it. So, Dark Second, did I try out the 2018 edition of Rust just yet? Maybe. I mean, I'm on the latest Rust as of a couple weeks ago, but that's just via Rust Up. So if that's all I need to do to get that, then I think so. Unless I missed something. I've noticed the book is annoyingly in flux still. Oh, you need to opt in the 2018 stuff. That I didn't know. That I need to look into. I don't think I've read This Week in Rust for a long time. And that's like primarily where I get that news. At least the nice thing here is that it does seem to be fine with us changing the size of this. Oh, that's cool, Daniel Collin. I'm on 1280. That's actually a bit older than I thought. I'm doing it. This will take a minute, but I just want to do this. Oh, that's how you opt in. That's a decent way to do that. While this is doing this, I can sit here and chip away at the code. At least we found out it's compressed somehow. I'm not that surprised, actually, that we saw big runs of data like that. I know that at least with LZ codecs, big runs of data like that are actually annoying to search through unless you have a different kind of data structure to just represent those things in the file when you're building or when you're doing the parse. So I wouldn't be surprised if it copped out on some of that stuff in order to code faster. But I bet we could get a lot better compression with a different codec, or maybe there's a way to configure this codec. In fact, actually, I kind of want to look into that. What did I use for this? LZ4 compress. So Rust LZ4 compress. Yeah, so you can create an encoder with a level. I might do that. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that while Rust updates. Oh, that's cool, Danny Colin. Do you know if there's a Rust library for that? I mean, I'll probably, for the sake of simplicity at this point, oh, there is one. Bloop. Oh, no, it's the same one. Or where? Wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, no, I just looked at the... Hold on. Let me see. They're doing comparisons. What I'm gonna do anyway is I'll probably just look at this and just crank up the level on this. I want to find the documentation. Usage. That's the same stuff that's in the README. That was 123, by the way, which I think I'm gonna bump up the version of this while we're at it, because why not? Just use the latest. In fact, I'm gonna do that first and just see if it builds as is. Or I'll do that in a second, I guess. Cool. Let's I think it's this encoder builder that we want. And I'm guessing, yeah, you wouldn't have a decoder builder thing because you would just do a new decoder from that. Good. Sure, that's specified as part of the stream. Anyway, this is what I was looking for. Encoder builder. And the encoder API, I think, is what we're already using here. How do we do this? Oh, we just called a compress function. Doesn't even look like it's here anymore. But that's fine. Oh no, it does still have this. Oh no, that's calling this, right, okay. And then this builds the encoder. Yeah, so we'll just change that. That'll be not a problem. It seems a little wrong that it's not imported. But that's probably just they didn't build this code in the README. In any case. Yeah. Good. I'm not going to configure the block size or block mode. We'll just do the level. And we'll crank that. See whatever it is. Looks like a different crate. Don't think so. Oh, wait a minute. It totally is, isn't it? Because I was using LZ4 compress. This is the LZ4 crate. That totally is a different one. Yeah, you guys are totally right. Nice catch. That's okay. We'll just go ahead and I'll actually switch to this. Just because it was the one that was linked from the official LZ4 site. That's funny. Whoops. But I want to know what this level is. Let's do this. 16. I'm just gonna crank it and see how long it takes, because I'm pretty sure it's still gonna be faster than a lot of other options. Hey, Studio C. Good to see you again. Yeah. LZ4. And then we'll do we probably need to import encoder too. I'm guessing that's the trait it'll use for that. Decoder. That's probably what we need. And then as per this shiz, encoder builder new dot level 16. Let's do this dot build because we don't really care about anything else here. Oh wait, this built to a writer, didn't it? Or something that implements write. Does a vec implement write? I think a cursor does. Whoop. Yeah, it does. Vec-U8 will implement write, which is good. Because then we can do this. Let mute encoded is vec new, and we can do, oh no. That, because I think it consumes that. It does. Then finally we call encoder finish with an output and a result. I guess the output then is it gives us back the encoded stuff. And then the result is something else. Result encoder. On a build will give us a result too. In mute, is it that? It looks like it consumes the writer. Not a reference to that. Oh, is Rust up making things chunky? That's funny. Sorry about that. Here we're gonna map the error. That we like. Yeah, and then this needs the encoded. Then here we want to do, well, first we want to do let's encoded results is encoder.finish. The encoder. Okay, yeah, so it gives you the writer, and then it gives you a result of that's kind of a weird thing to do. Like, instead of giving you, they give you the writer and then, or the write, the thing that implements write, they give it here, and then they give you a results as a separate thing, and then the results is an IO results of unit. That's a bit strange. I would have expected an IO result of this, but that's fine. Yeah, I got a green screen. I ended up moving, and my computer is now in a bedroom. So I thought I'd get a green screen. It gets a little wonky, though. Like, if I do this, it thinks my hand is green or something. Yeah, I totally should have taken a picture of my old apartment, but I forgot to do that. But what I don't like about this is that now we have to check the results separately. So if let results is error, then we do this, and that's annoying. Yeah, because it's a string. Yeah, I think consuming the writer is, I'm okay with that. I just don't like how it returns like a separate result. That seems wrong. But, you know. Oh yeah, we need this here. And, oh yeah, I did this wrong. It's error E is result. Does that do what I want? Yeah, of course this is wrong because we need to do encoded. Like, this would have been cleaner if the result of encoder finish was an IO result of containing the encoded data. I don't know why that's not the case, but this is good enough. Yeah, I totally should just find stuff from my old videos, or just stuff with me in them behind me. That'd be funny. Okay, so now we want to do the reverse of this really quick. It shouldn't be too bad. That should be a little simpler, actually. So IO copy. Oh, the decoder gives us read, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. There's something I'm missing here, because we created the encoder with the stuff, but we didn't actually do the encoding here. So we need... Actually, we'll rearrange some of this the way I normally like it. Is that IO copy? Yeah, that actually would be cool to have effects behind me. Why not, right? This is actually cool. I didn't realize that that Rust had the copy function like this. But that's what we want to do too, is so we want to do copy, and then we give it the bin code and mute encoder, and then map error. This is also format. That should do it for the encoding. And then these are all great suggestions. I could be at a beach. I could go to Vermont. I love Wayne's World. Yeah, so let's do this. Let mute decoder is decoder new. And then we give it the input. And can that fail? Yes, it can. So we're going to do map error here again. That's exactly true, G Superland. Logicom HQ is my old apartment with chromatic aberration turned up to 11. That is so true. Hey, Pyro ESP. Glad all the regulars are still around. Guys aren't sick of me yet, I guess. Challenge accepted. Oh no. Vec doesn't support or doesn't implement read. Do I need a cursor for that? Also, this is that I forgot. Yeah, I think we can do this with a cursor. Then that should implement read. So we can do and we take in input here, then the cursor, and then we need cursor here. I like how all this just becomes really straightforward code, and all the bulk of it is just mapping errors. Great. So we'll make the decoder, and then we'll do new, and then I don't think a slice implements read, so we might have to copy that into a vec and then have a cursor for that. Maybe it does. We'll see. Find out quite quickly here. Oh no, this works if the decoder just takes that as the input. So that's actually fine. And then, or is it? Yeah, then we're good. Because then we do copy in mute decoder decoded. And then this should be fine. And then we need to handle this error first of all. And I'm guessing this just finishes. We don't have to do anything else to flush that. And then that should be good. And I'm going to call this decoder and then the bin code, and then this encoded here. Because we encode the bin code and we get encoded. And then this should be called, let's call this encoded. Because then we decode the input and we get the bin code. Or we decode the encode and get the bin. I like this. Or I like this. Let's do this. Yeah, I guess that doesn't need to be mutable because this just consumes it. Yeah, this looks great. Let's just see how this does in a second. I always underestimate how long this takes. In the meantime, in order to replace this, we'll need to, for example, like what do we do when we deserialize? So we get state and the ROM, yeah, it just copies that out. We're going to need to overwrite that as well. But I think I have this ROM from bytes here, so that'll just work to pull that off of the state. Yeah, it's slow. It's Rust up itself is not very fast, and plus I have a lot of different configurations that I use, including some that are specific versions of stuff. Dr. Bob, how's it going? So yeah, we'll do VB interconnect.rom is ROM from bytes. So I did this WRAM from slice thing. Maybe I want to implement that for this too. Oh, you know what? I actually called this from bytes here. And it's the same signature. Why don't I actually call this from bytes here? Because I think that's a better description. Oh, and I actually did just to vec on that. That's funny. Oh no, that's okay because we actually need to collect this. So let's do that, and then this becomes from bytes, and then this will just be state.interconnect. Nope. .rom. ROM, and we need to include that. Apparently we didn't need encoder. I thought we would have, but that's okay. I guess that's not a trait, it's just a concrete type. So we just need the encoder builder and the decoder. And then here, yeah, we want the ROM from here. Use Rustaboy core ROM. Sorry to hear you're a little sick, Dr. Bob. Maybe this will help. Oh, we get a result from that? Oh, that's kind of cool that I did that actually. You know, and it makes sense actually too that applying a state shouldn't be able to fail, I would argue. Where else is this used? ROM load. I'm guessing it's used in here. Pull it from slice, didn't we? No, it's from bytes. Yeah, because we made that match this, and then that gets the data ref. Okay, that's why we do that check there. I honestly think that we want to do the check for the size here, maybe, instead of here, even though this is where this information is. I just don't really like the idea that this can fail like this. Because when we get to like by the time we have a state object, this should be valid, is the assumption that I really want to make. I mean, I do like that this checks, like if it's loading from a file as well. And it would be nice not to have this repeated. Just, it feels weird that applying a state can result in an IO error, doesn't it? And I'm thinking at the same time, yeah, I thought about that, Dark Second. You know, actually, this might be a case for unwrap. I don't want to introduce the unchecked one because then it's kind of an unsafe API. This might be a good case for this, because if we do, this kind of communicates that we're assuming that the state's ROM is going to be valid, and I think that that's a safe assumption. It still doesn't stop someone from constructing a state object and then this suddenly breaks here, but I feel like that's a... This feels like the right solution here. Oh, really? It didn't finish. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Anyway, I just feel like this is the best way to do this, because then we don't bubble up the fact that this could fail, which is not really something that we want to happen. If there's a corrupted state file, ideally that should have been caught during deserialization. Could do expect here. Oh, this is a dilemma for me. You know, maybe we actually do want apply to be able to return an error. And maybe we don't want it to be an IO error. Did the stream go down? I don't think it went down on my end. But maybe something paused. Rusty very well might be eating all my CPU. Yeah, what I'm actually thinking that I want to do now is I want to make from bytes return a result that's not an IO result. It's good to know that that stutters, by the way. Might have to look into that. But in any case, I think I want to have this return a result that's not an IO result, but like some other descriptive thing. Because I think that's what makes this feel so wrong, is that this would give an IO result when applying a state shouldn't be doing any IO. Because then, if this were a result of like apply error or something. Hey, Matt RVA. Yeah, it has been a while. As long as the freeze frame is amusing, that's all I really care about. If this were some kind of results of ROM or ROM error, and then this one, which does load from a file, this could also be ROM error, and then one of the ROM errors is an IO error, which still feels better than necessarily having an IO error here. Maybe that doesn't really matter, because we could just format the error anyway. I might be overthinking this. So this would look like this. ROM error, invalid size is really the only thing. It's really the only option here. Yeah, subtracted the world behind me, exactly. What I need to do actually is get a picture of my new shelf, because I'm quite proud of the collective shelf the girlfriend and I have now. There's definitely at least one SNES on there. So I should get a picture of that behind me. Really? Really, Graham? I just saw the notification. I'm about to see the actual thing. By the way, thanks a bunch of people for replying to my little Twitter poll today about whether it's okay to rely on AVX or not. Oh, man. I think this needs to be my overlay from now on. I'm just going to let this sit here. Can we bulldozer? Yeah, I definitely need that as an emote. That's a good call, Daniel Collin. I really need to do that to set up the emotes and stuff. Because I still can. I'm still not affiliate. No, it is affiliate. I'm still an affiliate, so I should totally be able to do that. I'm thinking, Graham, that I want the one with the text. I think we're good. Anyway, I think maybe this is the structure I want to return here, because then this can be a result of ROM or ROM error as well. Really? Is that not what you do for that? Get to that in a second. Because then here we can map the error. Just wrap it. And then we can do the same here. And then this is going to be a ROM error invalid size. And error. Hey, move away. Yeah, it's good to be back. Because then here we can do something like map error. And then the only thing that I'm worried about now, if this is able to have errors like this, would be... Actually, wait a minute. We don't need that anymore, do we? I think we're good there. The only thing I would worry about this now is if this has to be versioned or not. Actually, we shouldn't need to worry about that, because we only should worry about the latest one, because the latest one's the only thing that we're actually going to be able to apply anyway. So we don't need to version the error struct here. And I think that's okay. So let's do this then. Yep. That's how that should look, I think. I'm not 100% with this, but I think that's okay for now. We'll see if this still feels natural as we add more stuff that we actually deserialize. In any case, this should be able to be built now, and we can actually test that this encodes smaller and that it applies the RAM and the ROM correctly. And that's actually okay. I think I'm relatively happy with that. I do want to bubble this state up though, and then if that's all the progress I make today, I'm actually pretty happy with this. Just being able to get back into the project is really nice. So I think this is here actually. It should be in. Should have a call to apply here. This one. Okay, so this checks this deserialize thing. Which is, of course, here? Is that where it's deserializing? I don't think so, is it? Oh, it totally is. And this result is a state or a string. You know, we could have just made the error here a string too. Let's not worry about that right now. Thing I don't want to do is just have a bunch of these bubbling up here, but let's just do this. I'm just gonna be lazy for now. Actually, if this, we'll do this. This is good enough. That at least gets us using that result. Yeah, we need display, don't we? I thought you could derive display. Maybe you can't. That's not fun. Because I don't... You know, the other thing we can do too is this for now. And just call that good for the time being. I would like to do this properly eventually, though. Do that here too. I really don't love having that here though, I think. But it's probably okay. I'm just gonna go a couple screens in here. Get a more meaningful state perhaps. That doesn't really matter though, I guess. That was slower. And it's still not really smaller, it looks like. Oh, it is. 463K instead of 500 something. So not that much benefit from doing that. Still doesn't look that compressed. Yeah, it does. Down here it does, at least. And at least we did see another big old chunk of FFs. But it looked... At least they're smaller. Strange. Anyway, it looks a bit more compact. Honestly, I might turn that level down for speed. See, because that takes so many seconds. That feels a bit bad. So I'm going to just tweak that level. What was the default again? Hey, level like Semtex. So the level was 0 is just default. And then values above 16 or 16. So we can just do... Honestly, I'll just do the default, perhaps. Yeah, that 100K really didn't win us anything. So let's actually just simplify the code and do I even need to use a builder to make the encoder? Because if I can just build an encoder directly. No, it doesn't seem to expose that, so we do need to do the builder. But in that case, I can just not specify any level, and that should give us the same as level 0, I would imagine. And then we good. So I'll just build this, and then I'll commit this, and then I think we'll be done for today. But in any case, I'm really happy to start digging into this again. I think we're making some good progress. Yeah, that feels so much better. And that extra 100K really does not matter. Cool. It's so funny how zombie it is restoring the state. Okay. Lots of stuff changed here. Yeah, I could compress on a different thread, but I'm totally not gonna. Just to keep the RetroArch or the Libretro API synchronous. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's the one that's driving the control flow anyway, so it wouldn't really help us. We'd have to wait for it anyway. That's funny. That's the first push on this project in months. That feels good. Done. All right, I'm going to head out. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I will see you next week. By the way, I do want to mention this is going to be my normal time slot now. Instead of 20, I start at 19 now. I'm just going to keep saying that for the next few streams, just until we're used to that. And I think I still need to update like my Twitch channel stuff. Whatever. Anyway, thanks guys for hanging out, and I'll see you next week.